What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Self-the-Line Surgeon making this video. I was supposed to make this video last week, but got busy. Sorry about that. Anyway, this video is about what is this video about? Oh yeah. This video is about trimmers. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all the question, but then I'm also gonna give y'all the background of my commercial trimmer experience. And so basically the question was, Seth, I have a SRM 225 and I saw your video on the Shindaiwa T344 thinking about getting a bigger, stronger trimmer. Do you recommend the Shindaiwa T344? Now, like I said, all I can do is go by my experience. And so my response is, do I recommend it? No. And when I say no, I'm not saying no because it's a bad trimmer. It's actually an awesome trimmer. But I'm going to give y'all the background on my trimmer experience. And then that way you can understand at the end of the video when I explain why I don't recommend it and what I do recommend. So if you don't want to hear a long story about all my commercial trimmers, then I guess you could fast forward to the end when I'm talking about why I don't recommend that trimmer. But first things first, you already know what time it is. Unorthodox tipsy talk. All right, where do we start? Let's go back to 2014. 2014 was when I got my first commercial trimmer. I started my business in 2012 and 13. I used toy belts, and I was running through toy belts. And at that point, I was like, man, it's about time for me to get a commercial trimmer. So of course, you know me. I started looking into the Shindaiwa, and I looked into it for shallow reasons. One, my favorite color is red. Two, I like the way the muffler sounded. And so, yeah, so that's the two main reasons why I started looking and researching the Shindaiwas. And I also knew a guy, I forget his name, he lives out in Hawaii. That's all he uses is Shindaiwa. So he was giving me some information about him. So, I went to a dealer. I looked up the closest dealer to my house, and when I got there, I should have ran, but I didn't because, you know, young in the lawn care industry, I didn't know any better. This place was like basically a repair shop. They sold some walkers and stuff like that. They were like a walker dealer, but they didn't necessarily have a showroom floor. You know, they didn't have a lot of things there. It was more of so a repair shop. And so in the corner in their little lobby or office, they had a little rack of dusty Shindaiwa trimmers. So I bought one. And I paid $436 for it. I'm very cheap, so I rarely forget numbers of how much I paid for stuff. $436 for it, and when I get home, when I started, it was easy to start up. Not easy, but you know, regular. You know, it wasn't like no first pull, but it started up. But it would take a while to warm up. Like you pull the trigger, and it was like, oh, like sound like it's about to cut off, and I'm like, huh, that doesn't seem right for a commercial trimmer. So when I called back the place back, they told me, oh, well, it's a 4-cycle. And for people who don't know, the Shindaiwa T344 is a 4-cycle hybrid. It still uses a mixed fuel, but it's a hybrid. I'm not sure. I'm not a small engine repair person, so I'm not really sure the technicalities on that. So, you know, for other people I asked, they said 4 cycles need time to warm up. So I said, okay, fine. Maybe that's what it is. So from that point on, I basically, when I was using it out in the streets, I would have to like say I finished cutting the yard, I would have to start it, leave it on the rack for like 2 or 3 minutes just to let it warm up, put my equipment up, then come back and get it and start trimming, just to give it some time to warm up. So that's how I was functioning out in the streets. And so eventually that little warming up just got worse and worse, you know what I mean? To the point where, like, every time I would pull the trigger, it would almost cut off. It would, like, hesitate, you know? And so I'm like, no, there's something wrong with this bad boy. So I took it back to the dealer, place where I got it from. Oh, yeah, peep the GIE. Who going to the GIE? Yes, sir. Anywho, I took it back to the place I got it from, the dealer, and so we almost got in an argument because he tried to accuse me of using like mixing my 2-cycle mix too thick. They was like, why is this 2-cycle mix so dark? That's probably the problem. It's too whatever. And I'm like, bruh, I've been using the same 2-cycle mix in all my equipment. I have a blower, a backpack blower I had for 2 years. I have other equipment that I've had for years, and I've been using. I had a blower, handheld blower that I done had for 7 years, and I've been using the same mix, And so I says I don't think that's it, and so basically from that conversation of him, for me doing some more research, what I found out about Shindaiwas. Shindaiwas are like a preppy trimmer. They can run on the cheaper stuff, like if you use a cheaper octane gas. This is from what I've heard, from people said. They can run on a cheaper octane gas, but the better the quality octane gas, the better the oil mix is, the better it runs. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like to the point where I could use the cheaper stuff in my other trimmers, but in my Shindaiwa I have to use a special mix, buy better oil or whatever, because it's just fancy. And so, but I'm like, man, I'm not trying to have two cans of mixed fuel, one for the Shindaiwa and one for the rest of my equipment. So I kept running that same fuel. Whatever. So that's 2014. I'm running basically with the Shindaiwa as my main trimmer, and then I have the still have the Troy Bilt. Hold on, let me turn this fan up. I'm getting hot for some reason. Let's see here. Come on, Mr. Fan. There we go. Oh yeah, that's the second. Ooh. Oh yeah, nice and breezy. All right. So 2014, I'm running the Shindaiwa as my main trimmer, and I still got a Troy Bilt because that's my multi-tool. I'm using that to hedge bushes. I got a pole saw attachment, and I don't know what that was. And so that's what I'm using, right? So of course, by like August or so, I'm in the middle of hedging some bushes, and my Troy Bilt kicks the bucket. So I said, well, you know what? I could either go out and buy another Troy Bilt, or I could finally upgrade and get an actual multi-tool trimmer, commercial. So that's when I look up a dealer. The funny part is, I was actually going to buy another Shindaiwa, a multi-tool Shindaiwa. And so, but I said I wasn't going back to that same dealer. So I looked up the next closest Shindaiwa dealer to me, and I went to them, which they were an actual dealer. They had a whole floor of mowers. I think they had X Marks, Walkers, and then as far as trimmers, they had a whole wall of Steel. They had a whole wall of Echo, but they only had a few Shindaiwas, right? So the Shindaiwa multi-tool I wanted, they didn't have. I would have to order it and then come back. So I didn't really feel like coming back. So I started looking at the Echoes. this is what prompted me to look at Echoes, just coincidentally. So I started looking at Echoes, comparing it to Shindaiwa. I'm like, man, these Echoes are way cheaper than Shindaiwas. They're cheaper than the Steels as well. So I went ahead and I got the Echo PAS 225, and so it was the cheapest motor, and the motor part was like 180. The trimmer part was like uh, 80, and then I got the articulating uh, um, what you call it, articulating trimmer, hedge trimmer. That was 230. So I ended up paying like about $500, right? So I thought that was pretty good. Got a new trimmer and I got a hedger. So I went back. That bush hedger was awesome. It still is awesome. And so I used that for like a couple of weeks, and then guess what? The Shindaiwa went down again. So this is the second time in the first year that I had this bad boy that it went down. So I was kind of blown about it. I was thinking about taking it back. I should have took it back, but I don't know. I just finished out the season and I used my Echo as my main trimmer. So then I went through the winter time of 2014, came into 2015, and I started off the season with my Echo. Just the Echo was holding me down. The 2014 Echo PAS 225 was holding me down. And so then, like at the beginning, sometime in the springtime, I took my Shindaiwa to my friend Romeo. I told him, I said, hey, I done took it to the dealer once. I think I might have took it to the dealer. No, I took it to it once. So I took it to the dealer once. They didn't told me this and that. And so I said, Romeo said, I got you. So another thing about a Shindaiwa is the type of carburetor is like unadjustable. It's like some carburetors has little knobs you can adjust, and this Shindaiwa it don't have the knobs. So Romeo basically he knows all about trimmers and equipment, so he like took the carburetor part and adjusted it so it had some more flow, so more fuel can get into the system or whatever. So he adjusted it. Thing ran awesome, right? So now I'm back to having two trimmers, right? I got the PAS 225 and I got my Shindaiwa T344. Run that for like a couple of months, and I say probably June or July. Guess what? The speed V head breaks on the Shindaiwa. And before that, it was always like I would have to like slam the Shindaiwa down. It was hard to turn for the string to come out. So I thought that was just how the Shindaiwa was. No, it was just the speed V head was messed up. So that whole Shindaiwa was just messed up from the beginning for me. So now I'm back to having one trimmer. So I had that one trimmer for like a month or so. Then I bought a new speed V head, right? So then I had that for until like September 2015, and then or August or something, and then the cap on the speed V head like fell off while I was driving on my Shindaiwa. So now the Shindaiwa's down again, and so I'm like, man, this Shindaiwa's getting on my nerves. So, anyways, I finished out the season, I think, again with my Echo. Echo still running strong, hold me down. So I go into 2016. At the beginning of 2016, I said, you know what? I just need to get another trimmer because this Shindaiwa is getting on my nerves. So I look on Craigslist. I see this guy selling a Echo PAS 225 that he said he bought in 2015, and he's selling it with a edger attachment, or an edger attachment and the straight hedger attachment, right? So think about this, right? Remember I said the motor part to the PAS 225 is 180. The the trimmer attachment is 80. So that's what, 260. And so then the edger attachment I want to say is like 140 or something like that. So that's 300. That's $400 right there. And then I think that straight hedger attachment is like 160 or something like that. So that's 560 plus tax, probably about $600. So this is $600 worth of lightly used equipment. He said he got it in 2015, and he's selling it for $300. So I said, man, that's a steal. So BJ helped me out. I think he let me he let me hold some of like his payment money, and so I used that to get it, and then I paid him back. Just because I just wanted to get it real quick. So, anywho, I got that equipment, and now I'm running. I just pretty much all of 2016, I just ran with my two Echoes. They was just awesome. The only thing about the new Echo I got, it was kind of rough looking cosmetically, because it looked like the guy was just had it in the back of his trailer, and he was just riding around, and it was just rolling around. So it has all kinds of scratches on it and stuff. So, but functionally it worked. So I did that. I got that. And at the end of 2016, I think I got Romeo to look at my PAS 225 again, and he got it running. So when it came into 2017, I had 3 trimmers, right? But I needed a speed head still for the speed head broke again on my Shindaiwa or something. So that Shindaiwa was just giving me all kinds of problems. And so 2017, I pretty much just had the 2 Echoes. I think sometime in the middle of the year, last year, I got the 2 new. No. I didn't get the speed heads until the beginning of 2018. I found a deal on Amazon. Well, speed heads was like $36. I used to see, right, regular price, and then I found an off brand where they were selling at $450, the big speed heads, for $15. So I got 2 of those. I got one still in the shed. I put one on the Shindaiwa, and so now I'm running the season. I got my Echo, my original Echo from 2014, my Shindaiwa from 2014, and that's why I was running my main trimmers. So, I'm running it. So one day I go to pick up the Echo. I used the Echo like all season, probably like a month ago. I went to pick up not the Echo, the Shindaiwa. Went to start it, it won't start. It basically sounds like it's not getting enough fuel into the system, so the carburetor's probably clogged. But I'm like so tired of that trimmer, bro. Like, I'm so tired. I done thought of every time that the last 3 or 4 times the trimmer done broke down, I done thought about selling it. And I'm so dead serious about selling it right now. And so now it's all right. Well, now I'm back to my 2 Echoes. So then a piece falls off of the cosmetically, challenged Echo that I bought from the guy in the 2015 one. So I had to go buy that piece, and then once I get the piece, I realized that the trigger is messed up. So now I'm like, oh my gosh. So now I'm down to 1 trimmer. That's why y'all gonna see in my next vlog, me and BJ out here cutting, 14 yards with 1 trimmer. So yeah, so basically I'm at the point now where I'm like so done with that Shindaiwa. And like I said, I don't blame it on Shindaiwa. People say, when I say I don't recommend Shindaiwa, I don't say don't go out here and buy Shindaiwa. I I feel like I got a limit. I'll say that. But aside from that, I just feel like the Shindaiwa is a, maybe it's the model I had, the T-44. I feel like the higher, more powerful trimmers you get, the more CCs, the more kind of maintenance it is, the more kind of finicky it is. You know what I mean? And that's what I feel like with that Shindaiwa. I don't know if it's the brand Shindaiwa or whatever, or if it's the engine level. But I just feel like it's a lot of, you know, you gotta use this particular fuel mix, or you gotta use this particular octane gas or whatever, and that's when that thing's running, that thing is a monster, bro. But it's barely running. And like I said, maybe I got a limit. So what I the reason, and then another reason I don't recommend it is not that to say stay away from Shindaiwa. If you want to get a Shindaiwa, I think my thing is, my motto, y'all know my motto is all commercial trimmers are great. You know what I mean? All, as long as you take care of them, all of them are great. The only reason, the only thing I would suggest for that person, because his question was, he has an SRM 225 and he wants to get a Shindaiwa. Stick with Echo. You know what I mean? Stick with one brand. You get what I'm saying? And so what I'm thinking about doing, right, is I think I'm going to sell my Shindaiwa and I'm going to get the motor piece for a more powerful motor for my Echo attachments, because I already have the PAS set up. So I think the two next levels up is the two. Well, they have three. They have the PAS 266. They got the PAS 262.6 or something like that. Then they have the PAS 280, which is a 28 cc. The 26s are 25 and 26 cc's. So, and the PAS 225 is a 21 cc. So my thing is, it's awesome having a light everyday trimmer, which I have in the PAS 225, and then having the more powerful trimmer with the T344. So I just want to switch everything over to Echo, and then switch everything over to a multi-tool, because, you know, it, I mean, they say you should have, the reason I got the straight trimmer is because they say straight trimmers are less likely for things to go wrong with it, and as far as in the shaft. And just like with my my other PAS 225, something went wrong with the trigger and in the shaft mechanism and stuff like that. So it is a higher percentage chance of things to go wrong with the multi-tools. But just like with that motor going down with my other PAS 225, I could go out and spend less than $200 and replace that if I wanted to. And so that's what the guy at the dealer told me. He said this is the tool that a lot of the big businesses use, because you can come back here, they can be out working on a big job, and one of the trimmers go down. They just run into the dealer, grab a new motor for the PAS 225, hook it up to one of the old trimmer attachments, and keep on rolling. You know what I mean? And so that's what attracts me to the multi-tool. So I guess, long story short, my answer to your question is stick with Shindaiwa. Stick with Echo. If you want a more powerful trimmer, look into the 280s. It, like I said, I don't know if you have a multi-tool. If you don't, definitely look into the 28cc multi-tool, and or if you just want a bigger trimmer, look into the 28cc Echo. That's what I would recommend. I mean, this is just my experience. I just, you know, want to give y'all my experience with trimmers. I never claim to be no professional or no, uh, you know, expert. I just give y'all my experiences. So I hope that helps you guys. I know this is a long video. I'm chilling. I actually had a little day off today randomly, so I thought I would make this video. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. I got more. I got a vlog that I have to edit. Hopefully it'll be up in the next couple of days, but I'm gonna post this today, Wednesday, and so give y'all a little something. And next vlog is gonna be pretty good. So stay tuned. Yes, sir.